Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to talk about something that's literally all around us, even if we don't always notice it: environmental hazards. We're going to connect the dots, between the small stuff we do every day and the huge impact it can have. And the best part, we'll look at simple changes we can all make. So let's dive right in. So think about this for a second. You're walking down the street, you see a puff of smoke from a car's exhaust, or maybe a plastic bag just kind of stuck in a tree branch. It's easy to just walk by and think, oh, that's ugly, right? Just a nuisance. But what if it's actually more than that? What if it's a little warning sign of a much, much bigger problem? That's exactly what we're getting into today. All right, so to really dig in, we've got to start with the basics. Let's make sure we're all on the same page by quickly breaking down what we even mean when we talk about this stuff. It will help build a really solid understanding step by step. Okay, first up, environment. Now, this word gets thrown around a lot, but it's not just about trees and mountains. Think of it as everything. It's the air we breathe, the water we drink, the ground under our feet. It's the whole system, the whole shebang that supports all life, including us. It's our home on a massive scale. And then we have the word hazard. Super simple, right? It's just a danger, a risk, anything that has the potential to cause harm. And here's the thing, it's not always something dramatic and immediate like a falling rock. A hazard can be sneaky. It can be a slow burn problem that just builds and builds over time until boom, it hits a breaking point. So let's put those two ideas together. An environmental hazard. What is it? Well, it's pretty straightforward. It's anything in our surroundings, in our environment that can cause harm. Harm to us, harm to animals, harm to the whole natural world. Okay, now here's where it really hits home. Because, these hazards, they don't just pop about on nowhere. A lot of them, well, they're on us. They're a direct result of our actions, our daily habits, the choices we all make. So how exactly do our actions create these problems? Let's take a look. Let me walk you through a quick story. Picture this. Someone casually tosses a plastic bottle on the ground. No big deal, right? Well, that one bottle gets washed into a storm drain. It meets up with some other trash and creates a clog. Then the next big rainstorm hits. The water has nowhere to go, so it backs up and suddenly a whole neighborhood is flooding. Just think about that. One small, thoughtless act snowballs into a massive hazard for an entire community. And honestly, that plastic bottle, that's just one example. These kinds of hazards, the ones we create, are everywhere. Sometimes they are hiding in plain sight. So let's shine a light on a few more real-world examples that you might even see in your own backyard. Let's talk about improper waste disposal. We're talking about more than just a smelly, ugly pile of trash. Those heaps of garbage can become breeding grounds for disease. They can choke our rivers and streams, and worse, they can leak all sorts of nasty chemicals into the soil and the water that we absolutely depend on to live. And what about deforestation? When we cut down a ton of trees, it's not just about losing the trees themselves. Think about it. Those tree roots are like a giant net holding the soil together. When you take away that net, there's nothing to stop a heavy rain from just washing all that precious topsoil away. That's erosion, and it can lead to devastating landslides and floods. Or how about oil spills? It doesn't matter if it's from a busted pipeline or a ship accident, the damage is just catastrophic. We are talking about contaminating the water we drink, making farmland useless for years and years, and basically suffocating all the life in rivers and oceans. It completely destroys the way of life for people who rely on fishing or farming. Okay, I know, hearing all this can feel a little heavy, a little overwhelming. But here's the most important part, the real takeaway. If our actions are creating these problems, then it means our actions can also be the solution. So, let's pivot. Let's shift from just looking at the hazards to looking at what we can actually do about them. The real power is in the simple swaps. For every bad habit, there's a better one right there waiting. So, instead of, say, burning trash in your yard, you can compost or just dispose of it properly. Instead of leaving the water running, you can fix that leaky tap. And instead of grabbing a new plastic bottle every time, you can switch to a reusable one. See? These aren't huge, life-altering changes. They're just small, smart shifts in our daily lives that add up to something big. So, we've covered a lot, right? We've gone from what these words even mean to seeing the real-world damage and talking about solutions. But it all boils down to this one final and honestly most important step. It's about taking everything we've talked about and actually using it right where you live. So I want to leave you with a little challenge. Next time you step outside, I want you to really look around. Look with these new eyes based on everything we've just discussed. What's one environmental hazard you can spot right there on your own street? And here's the kicker. What's one small thing you're going to do about it?